Taichiblue Studios.
Music paint.
Okay, this drop is coming at you from Taichiblue Music Studios. Taichiblue Studios is it's a small project studio. We are really dedicated to promoting and doing projects for our own upcoming new group, the Digital Escape. This group is coming. We have about 128 audio tracks and from our Tascam Porta Studio. Also, we got about 72 tracks of MIDI from all of our music production synthesizers and that. And this drop is going to be for my music painters, for my instrumentalists, for my Motif and MoX and MoXF players, for those Montage and MoDX players out there. We're going to try to get a lot of you in here on this deal. A lot of what I am going to be showing is applicable to all of those. So the concept is going to be something that you could use on anything from a MoXF up to a Montage and a MoDX. We are largely talking today about how to set up and how to put together interactive drum arpeggios using the Motif drum arpeggios and arpeggiator. And those drum arpeggios on a Motif, those are not just your garden variety drum beats, electronic drum beats. These arpeggios were played in using MIDI drum sets, and most of them were played in live using MIDI drum sets by live players, professional players. This is a very high quality arpeggios that are making up the drum arpeggios on the MoX, the MoXF, the MoDX, the Montage. These are very high quality arpeggios. And so what I am trying to get accomplished and what I've been trying to work out is the idea of being able to have my drum arpeggios be more interactive. You have about 4 or 5 arpeggios normally when you pick a voice or a performance. There are 4 or 5 arpeggios associated with each instrument. And you can move between these arpeggios as you are playing. But I really want to have more of a interactive experience when I'm playing. You know, where if I'm playing faster or playing with more velocity, or if I'm playing softer, I want the arpeggio to change without having to take my hands off the keys and hit an arpeggio, one of the soft function buttons. Okay, so for my 5 arpeggios, I'd like it to be able to switch between these 3 arpeggios, 6338 and 6349, these jazz arpeggios. I'd like to be able to switch between those as my velocity changes, right? And so in order to accomplish this, I'm going to have to work with the arpeggiator, the Motif arpeggiator, to program it to do what I need it to do. And you might want to think of that arpeggiator as really a interactive sequencer, because that's really what it is. I always thought arpeggiator was kind of a strange name. It's more like having an interactive sequencer. Now you can only enter 16 distinct notes, so it's kind of like a 16-step sequencer, but more. But it's interactive. And by programming that arpeggiator through controlling the velocity limit, the note limit, and unit multiply, we can get the arpeggiator to play different licks, different drum licks, depending on what our velocity level is, or depending on where we're at on the keyboard. So this is not just a matter of playing some, recording some built-in drum sequence or some built-in drum lick and just letting it play out. I want what's being played to change based on velocity or where we are at on the keyboard. So that's part of what we're trying to accomplish here. So bringing this interactive concept into my live playing. If I'm just playing, I'm grooving, messing around, trying to figure out a solo or something, and I really need the drums to follow me. I've got some special drum arpeggio setup, maybe one that I've customized, or I found a nice one that's on the in the Motif library. I want that drum arpeggio to be a little more interactive. Okay, and so this is we accomplished that by programming that arpeggiator. So that's kind of the trick here. We're going to have multiple drum licks, multiple drum grooves, and we ultimately are going to stack those grooves. And we want those grooves to be controlled by either unit multiply, or the velocity limit or note limit. And what unit multiply will do is you can program that so that if you slow down or speed up, your drum groove will change. Okay? And the note limit allows you to, based off of one range of velocity, you will be able to be interacting with one arpeggio, and when your velocity changes, you will be interacting with another arpeggio, right? And so just keep that in mind. On one hand, of course, we could go into the sequencer and we can sequence any kind of drum groove we want, but that drum groove is not interactive. Once you hit play, it's going to do what, it's going to play back whatever you recorded. What I'm talking about here is either using built-in drum arpeggios or recording your own drum arpeggios and then designing those arpeggios to be interactive in real time. So as my playing is changing in real time, okay, and I'm doing a little bit more, if I'm playing harder, one drum arpeggio will play. If I play a little softer, another drum arpeggio will play. As the nuances in my playing changes, so do the drum arpeggios change. That's different than what happens when you have a recorded drum sequence. That recorded sequence is just going to play the same thing that you recorded. If I set up drum arpeggios and I program the arpeggiator properly, I'm going to end up with a situation where as my playing is changing, the drum arpeggios are changing. And like I said, this technique, this will work on a Montage. This will work on a MoDX. This will work on your MoXs. This will work on the Motif. That's what I'm using here. Actually, probably any of the Yamaha synthesizers that have this arpeggiator that will let you change the arpeggio based off of your note limit or your velocity limit, or you have unit multiply parameters that you can change. So here, you know, I'm able to go between the 6330 modern jazz and my 6338 modern jazz, and I've got the drum licks that I want to play. And as I'm playing here, I play a little faster, a little softer. The drums are changing to match that, right? And it will match these interactively. Okay, so this is a big deal. Typically, that's one of the things all of us keyboard players have to deal with, is, you know, a mechanical drum beat that does not change as we play, and we're kind of stuck with what we have. But if you're able to apply this technique, then you're better off. And the way to accomplish this is to set up in either performance mode or pattern mode, to set up more than one drum set. Okay, so keep this in mind, that each drum set that we set up is going to have 5, you can have as many as 5 arpeggios assigned to that drum set. So here I've set up 3 powered standard kits, and they're going to have 5 arpeggios associated with each one of these. And so once I have these set up, I can go in here and velocity limit each one of these drum sets, so that if I play in one velocity range, drum set number 1's arpeggios are going to play. And if I play in another range, drum set 2's arpeggios are going to play. If I play in a different range of the keyboard, that might trigger one of the arpeggios from one of those drum sets. So that's the trick. You won't be able to do it. You won't be able to pull this off with just a single drum set, because that drum set's arpeggios are you have 5 of them, but the limits are already going to be set on those. So you can only have one velocity limit at a time for that arpeggio. But if we set up multiple drum sets, like either in song mode or in performance mode, then we'll be able to make this technique happen. Okay, and so a big part of this is you being able to find the drum licks from, or the drum grooves from the Motif patterns that already come with the Motif or the MoX, and they have some, like I said, some awesome ones. You can get some awesome ones from Twiddly Bits, like on places like Motivator. You can get these. They got some really nice drum grooves there, and you bring these in, and you're able to mix and match these things, get some pretty nice sounds out of these. And in addition to these, you're able to go in and modify these drum grooves. And so if there's something you don't like, you can change them, right? And you can also work not just in pattern mode, song mode. You can set these up in like performance mode here. Like, I'm going to pick a standard kit, and I'm going to pick arpeggios in the performance mode here. You have a limitation in performance mode. We rarely only have 4 voices that we can use when we're in performance mode. And so at most, if you're not just doing only drums, at most you can set up 3 drum sets. Here I picked 6337. That's my MC1 modern jazz. It's a nice groove going on there. And then I might assign one of the other arpeggios to one of the, maybe let's say I'll pick 6339 here, and that'll be another arpeggio. And so I'll pick what I want my arpeggios to be between my multiple drum sets. And then after I have all of those set up, I can go in and decide whether I'm going to assign those arpeggios to different keyboard ranges. So they're like note limited. So you want to think of that. You can set up the arpeggio so they play within a certain note limit, or you can set up the arpeggio so they play within a certain velocity limit, and you can set up, or both. You combine note limit and velocity limit. This makes for some really complex interaction. So yeah, you're gonna have to be patient. And take your time with these and experiment with what it is that you're trying to do. But for those of us out there that have to have complex drum patterns, drum grooves, drum licks, however you want to refer to that, this is a way to accomplish that. I know a lot of kind of different genres of music. Once you get a drum groove going, you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of different complex interactions with the drummer. But when you're playing fusion or some prog stuff or funk stuff, depending on what kind of composer you are. In some cases, classical drummers, you can end up with some very complex patterns that you're trying to interact with, and we want to do that live. That's the whole point here. We're trying to get this stuff programmed so that it works as I'm doing it in real time. And that's the point of this knowledge drop, how to set up a drum situation where I can get my drum patterns and my drum grooves to interact with my playing. Okay, and that's going to be accomplished by stacking those drums either in pattern mode, song mode, or in performance mode if you're on like a MoX or a Motif. And if you're using a Montage, it's all in one big mode, but you still have the ability to velocity limit and note limit and use that unit multiply to program that arpeggiator. And again, if you really want to get the most out of the Motif or the Montage arpeggiator, you really want to think of that arpeggiator as just a sequencer. It's its own interactive sequencer. It lets you sequence up to 4 tracks. Those tracks can be, as long as you want. You just aren't able to enter anything more than 16 distinct drums. In this case, we're talking about drums. So you can play any one of those drums as many times as you want, but you can only have 16 different drums, drum pieces, ride cymbals, crash cymbals, whatever you're going to have. You can only have 16 of those. But you've got 4 tracks. And you're able to modify or play or control the velocity of those tracks however you want. Like I said, we can play all kind of tricks and games and techniques with unit multiply to get different things. And then you take those tracks and you record them as an arpeggio, your own arpeggios, and so you can mix and match those with the ones that come with the Motif or the Montage. And you can put together some pretty integral drum patterns. And I'm going to divide this knowledge drop up in probably 2 parts, because it would be too much. The thing would go on probably 40-50 minutes if I got down into how to make your own drum patterns and arpeggios, or how to modify the built-in ones, and I'm going to do that, and I guess I'll make a part 2, and so that I can show you how to really make sophisticated drum patterns, interactive drum patterns, drum patterns that, you know, follow how you are playing. Drum patterns that will slow down if you need to slow down, and speed up if you need to speed up, or like I say, really get interactive. If you need to have a lot of cymbal work done, you need to have a lot of interaction between cymbals and the bass drum, a lot of, you know, accents between the snare drum and the cymbals as you're playing, you know, and you're working out some solo, working out some intricate scale work. This is the way to do that. And so this arpeggiator that we have on the Yamaha Motif, the MoX and the MoXF, the arpeggiator that comes with the Montage and Montage M and the MoDX. These are some vicious arpeggiators once you get to know them. There's a lot of capability for programming them. And like I said, if you realize that you're really just working with a interactive sequencer, a more advanced sequencer than just the one that's in song mode and pattern mode, you're going to be better off. It's going to open up some possibilities that you might not have thought of, right? And so I'm going to try to, on part 2, to demonstrate this a little bit better. Today, I just want to drop this, do this knowledge drop for all my instrumentalists and my music painters out there, and get them started with some of the good complex pattern programming, drum pattern programming that I learned. So I will catch you guys next time.